She built a cybersecurity empire trusted by hospitals, banks, and governments, never knowing the man sleeping beside her was rewriting her digital fingerprints, forging her leadership history, and preparing to steal her company with the help of her own cousin. Until she discovered the truth first and turned their perfect plan into their perfect downfall. Hi friend. Before we begin today's story, I want to speak something into your life. May every hidden snake in your circle reveal itself early. May every plan formed behind your back collapse before it reaches your doorstep. And may you never ever lose what was built by your sweat, your tears, and your brilliance. Now, if you're listening, tell me where you're watching from. Your comments help this channel grow, and they remind me how far these stories travel. Thank you for being here. Before we begin, let me ask you something important. If someone you love was quietly plotting to take everything you built, what do you think your first move would be? Think about it. Now, let's get into the story. Elena Cruz had always believed that betrayal came with signs. Quiet tension, shifty eyes, suspicious movements, missed calls at midnight. But the truth was far uglier. Betrayal came wrapped in routine. Soft kisses, warm dinners, shared calendars, morning texts, a hand on your back guiding you through doorways. Betrayal came wearing the face of someone who said, "I love you," too beautifully to mistrust. And that was the problem. Victor Hale had never looked like a villain. He had arrived in her life during her most vulnerable era, after CYRA's first major breach, after her team had worked 76 hours straight, after she'd fainted in her office from exhaustion. He was the operational consultant assigned by their biggest client. Confident, sharp-witted, soft-voiced, the kind of man who listened with his entire body. He made her feel safe. And Elena had mistaken that feeling for love. Now, sitting in her dimly lit dining room, her spoon swirling through a bowl of soup she wasn't eating, her mother's voice echoed in her head. "He said he'll be CEO soon." Her pulse fluttered painfully. Her breath fractured. "Mommy," she whispered. "No. You must have misunderstood." But a part of her, the part that had survived 5 years in cutthroat tech, the part that built a company that protected government institutions, knew her mother wasn't wrong. That's when the door opened. Victor entered with his usual confidence. He loosened his tie, shook off the cold, and walked toward her with a smile. "There's my girl." His lips brushed her cheek. Warm. Familiar. Too familiar. She forced a small smile back. "Hey." He sat, folding his blazer over the chair. "You look drained. You should sleep early tonight." Her right hand trembled under the table. "Long day," she murmured. He leaned back, studying her. "Anything I should worry about?" "You," she wanted to say. "Everything about you." But instead, she forced her voice steady. "No. Just tired." He reached across the table and squeezed her hand. His touch felt different now. Wrong. Like a glove on the wrong hand. "I've been thinking," Victor said casually. "Maybe I should take more responsibility at CYRA. You've carried the company long enough." Her chest tightened. There it was again. The shift. The push. Her mother's voice echoed. "He said the board supports him." Elena swallowed hard. "That's thoughtful." Victor smiled, pleased at her response. "It's time. You deserve a break." A break. From her own company. She kept her expression neutral, but inside, every alarm bell she'd ever ignored began ringing. Later that night, after Victor had fallen asleep beside her, Elena lay awake staring at the ceiling. The apartment was silent except for the rise and fall of his steady breathing. Every inhale angered her. Every exhale betrayed her. Her heart pounded against her ribs. Eventually, she slipped out of bed. Silent. Barefoot. Controlled. She moved into her office, opened her laptop, and checked the system logs. Nothing obvious. But that meant nothing. Victor was too smart to be sloppy. She opened her encrypted messaging app and typed, "Santos, I need you. Something's wrong." Her brother replied instantly, "On my way. Don't say anything else." Elena closed her laptop and pressed her palms to her face. She was scared. More scared than she had been in years. 40 minutes later, there was a soft knock. Santos let himself in with the spare key. "Elle," he whispered. "Talk." She told him everything. Her mother's warning. Victor's strange comments. Her gut feeling. The shift she couldn't explain. Santos said nothing. He simply sat down, opened his laptop, and plugged into CYRA's network. He typed fast, the way only someone who lived in code did. "Elle," he said slowly, "you didn't access these files." Her breath hitched. "Which ones?" "Leadership risk assessments. Credit reallocations. Board rotation documents. Projected vulnerabilities. And performance flags." Her stomach twisted. Performance flags were only generated when a CEO was under review. Santos, who accessed them? Santos clicked deeper. His jaw clenched. "Elena," his voice dropped. "These logins came from Victor's IP." Her body went cold. Her fingers numb. Her husband. Her partner. Accessing documents that could remove her. Her throat tightened. "Santos, are you sure?" He spun the laptop so she could see. Authenticated access. Time-stamped. Repeated. Victor had broken into her network profile at least 7 times. Elena covered her mouth with both hands, tears burning but refusing to fall. She wasn't crying because of betrayal. She was crying because she knew this was only the beginning. "Elle," Santos whispered softly. "We're going to trap him." She blinked at him. "Trap him." "A honeypot." He typed fast. A fake folder appeared on her screen. CYRA_internal_crisis_2025. Inside, he placed fabricated internal documents. False breach reports. Mock investor memos. Draft Elena Cruz removal proposals. Everything Victor would salivate over. "It's bait," Santos explained. "If he opens anything inside, we'll track every keystroke." Elena nodded slowly. "Do it." She felt sick, but determined. Broken, but burning. They waited. 4:18 a.m. A ping. Santos inhaled sharply. "Elena, he's in." Her stomach dropped. Victor was downloading files. Editing them. Forwarding them. Santos clicked View Address. He froze. "Elle." "What?" He forwarded the documents to Marina. Her cousin. Her family. Her bridesmaid. Elena's legs buckled. She landed in the chair, shaking uncontrollably. Her husband. And her cousin. Together. Against her. Santos crouched beside her. "Elena, listen to me. This is not the end." She struggled to breathe. "Elena," he whispered fiercely. "This is the beginning of your comeback." Her eyes lifted, wet, shattered, furious. "Okay," she whispered. "Show me everything." Elena sat frozen, her breath shallow, her pulse fluttering violently against her throat as the truth spread across Santos' laptop screen like a cancer. Victor wasn't just looking at her files. He wasn't just poking around her leadership documents. He wasn't just curious. He was preparing a takeover. And Marina, her cousin, her childhood companion, her mother's goddaughter, was helping him do it. The room felt smaller. The air felt heavier. Her heartbeat echoed between her ears like gunfire. "Show me the messages," Elena whispered. Santos hesitated. "Are you sure?" She swallowed hard. "Yes." He opened the email thread. Elena leaned over the keyboard, her eyes scanning the text. There they were. Dozens of messages between Victor and Marina. Time-stamped, coordinated, intimate in a way that made Elena's stomach twist. Marina had sent Victor summaries of Elena's board relationships, her vulnerabilities, internal financial projections, and, God, this one hurt the most, private voice memos from Elena herself, forwarded without permission. Victor's replies were worse. "She's easier to manipulate than we expected. Once the board sees her performance numbers, they'll push her to step down. I'll be in position to take over by Q4. We only need Elena out of the picture." Elena's hands began to shake uncontrollably. Her eyes burned. Her chest heaved. Her mind screamed. She wasn't just being betrayed. She was being erased. "Elle," Santos whispered. "You don't have to read this." "Yes," she choked. "I do." She scrolled. More messages. More strategy. More quiet violence woven through sentences. "Once I'm CEO, you'll run operations. Just stay close to her and keep feeding me updates. Don't worry. She trusts you." Elena squeezed her eyes shut, nausea rising in her throat. Her cousin. Her blood. Her family. And Victor. Her husband, the man who vowed to protect her, the man she trusted with her passwords. Her home, her mother, her life. It felt like every bone in her body was cracking under the weight of betrayal. "Elena," Santos said gently, "you need to breathe." She hadn't realized she had stopped. Her chest was tight, like her ribs were made of barbed wire. But she forced a breath in. Then another. Then another. Santos squeezed her shoulder. "You're not alone in this." But Elena wasn't sure whether that comforted her or hurt her more. Finally, she spoke. "Are they seeing the honeypot in real time?" Santos checked the live feed. Victor was still in the folder. Marina, too. They were both downloading the crisis documents, forwarding them to each other, and adding notes. Santos grinned faintly. They walked straight into it. Elena leaned over, gripping the edge of the desk so hard her knuckles whitened. "What's our next move?" Santos' fingers hovered over the keyboard. "We need to gather everything. All access logs. All past data. Every sign of tampering. And then..." He paused. "And then what?" Elena demanded. "We expose them." Santos met her eyes. "Publicly. Legally. And permanently." Elena nodded. Swiftly. Sharply. "Do it." Santos began downloading logs, copying evidence, and transferring it to a secure offline drive. But his expression shifted as he worked. "Elena," he said slowly, "you need to see this." Her stomach dropped. "What now?" He pulled up a separate log, not just from their home network, but from CYRA's internal servers. "Elena," he whispered, "this isn't just a corporate takeover." She froze. Santos clicked the next file. And there it was. A full-blown coordinated breach attempt, originating from a second IP lead that belonged to... No. Marina. Elena gasped. Santos nodded grimly. "She's been feeding an external third-party access to CYRA's classified architecture." Elena's heart slammed against her ribs. "No. That's not possible. Marina she doesn't know code." "She doesn't have to," Santos said. "She was handing over login sessions. Not coding. Not hacking. Just giving away your keys." Elena stumbled back, hands over her mouth, shaking, terrified. "This isn't just betrayal," Santos continued. "This is criminal. She's compromising protected infrastructure." Victor's involvement took on a new level of darkness. He wasn't just planning to remove her. He was planning to destroy her. "Elena," Santos said, voice low, "if this breach succeeds, your entire company collapses. Contracts. Reputation. Credibility. Everything." Her knees weakened. She gripped the desk to stay upright. Her voice cracked. "How long? How long until the breach completes?" Santos nodded. "At this rate. A few weeks, maybe less. They're building the case that CYRA is incompetent. That you're negligent. And Victor swoops in as the hero CEO who saves the company." Her pulse stopped, and then came back harder, faster, angrier. Everything fit now. Victor's timing. His charm. His sudden interest in leadership. Marina's closeness. Her long-lost jealousy. Her need to be important. They were orchestrating a total collapse so Victor could take over after the fallout. Elena lifted her chin. No tears. No shaking. No fear. Not anymore. They want to collapse, she said quietly. Let's give them one. Santos blinked. What? Elena stepped closer, eyes sharp with a new razor-like intensity. We feed their breach. We let them finish what they started. Only. She leaned down, whispering like a predator. We decide what they destroy. Santos stared. Then slowly a grin spread across his face. Elena, he whispered. Are you ready to burn everything down? She nodded once. I am. But before we do, she continued, I want to know everything they've done. Every lie. Every move. Every message. Santos pulled up the chat logs again. But this time, he filtered by keywords. His face paled. Elena, you're going to want to sit down for this. She sat. Santos clicked the filter. And a new set of messages appeared. One line. Independent. Clean. Deadly. From Victor to Marina. Once she's removed, we'll relocate her mother to the county facility. It will be easier to get guardianship. Elena froze. Her blood turned to ice. No, she whispered. Santos looked sick. Elena. They wouldn't. Her voice trembled. They wouldn't dare touch my mother. Santos pointed at the next line. Marina. Of course. Once her mother's guardianship transfers, Elena loses emotional leverage. She'll be too distracted to fight. Elena's hands balled into fists. Her nails pierced her palms. Her breath turned violent. They weren't just stealing her company. They were going after her mother. Her only surviving parent. Her heart. Elena. Santos whispered. But she didn't hear him. She stood. No shaking now. Just fury. Precision. Purpose. Turn the trap into a bomb, she said quietly. And get me everything. Santos grabbed his laptop. What are you going to do? Elena's voice was cold. Dead calm. Take my company back. Destroy them both. And make sure they never touch anyone I love again. Santos nodded, eyes fierce. Then let's begin. They worked until sunrise, copying logs, mapping breach sequences, cataloging forged documents, tracking every line of metadata, every whisper of digital corruption Victor left behind. By the time the city lit up in soft morning gold, Elena had enough evidence to bury them. But evidence wasn't enough. Not yet. Not for Elena. She wanted them to feel it first. The fear. The panic. The unraveling. The betrayal of being outplayed by the person you underestimated the most. Elena, Santos said gently as she rubbed her aching eyes. You haven't slept. I don't need sleep, she whispered. I need justice. Santos didn't argue. He saved the files and leaned back. So what now? Elena looked out the window at the sunrise. Now, she said softly, we begin phase 1. What's phase 1? Santos asked. Elena smiled. Sharp. Broken. Deadly. We let Victor think he's winning. Santos grinned a slow, dangerous grin. Elena Cruz, he whispered. You are terrifying. But Elena wasn't listening anymore. She was already planning the next step, the next move, the next strike. Her husband had declared war. He would learn what that meant. If you were Elena, what's the first move you'd make now that you know your husband and cousin are secretly dismantling your entire company? Share your answer. It might help someone who feels betrayed right now. The sun rose quietly, spilling pale gold light across the hardwood floors of Elena's penthouse. The city outside was already stirring. Buses grumbling down the street, trains rumbling underground, office towers flickering awake. But Elena felt none of it. She stood in front of her massive windows, arms crossed over her chest, still wearing the clothes from the night before. Her hair was messy, her eyes hollow from exhaustion, but her mind was the sharpest it had ever been. Santos returned from the kitchen with 2 mugs of coffee, setting one on the table behind her. Drink. You need the caffeine. She didn't move. Didn't blink. Show me the board meeting schedule. Santos exhaled. Elena. Show me. He opened his laptop. The screen reflected off the glass in front of her. Board meeting, he said quietly. Wednesday. 3 days from now. Elena nodded slowly. Victor's planned date. The day he would present his fabricated documents. The day Marina would supply proof of Elena's supposed incompetence. The day they'd propose an emergency leadership transition. Her removal. Her dethroning. Her humiliation. Elena finally turned away from the window and picked up her mug. 3 days, she whispered. That's all they have. Santos studied her face carefully. You're scaring me a little. Her eyes lifted to his. She wasn't angry now. She was focused. Cold. Controlled. Dangerous. Good, she said softly. You should be scared. Santos didn't know whether to laugh or pray. He sat down as Elena walked over, lowering herself into the chair beside him. Okay, she said. We need everything mapped out. Every path. Every angle. Every move Victor thinks he can make. Santos nodded. A full counter-op? A full dismantling, Elena corrected. I'm not just stopping them. I'm destroying their strategy so thoroughly they'll never recover. She leaned forward. Let's begin. First priority. The breach. They pulled up CYRA's network architecture, tracing the path of Marina's unauthorized access. The logs painted a horrifying picture. She'd used Elena's old family access code, combined with Victor's administrator token, plus a forged temporary session ID, to enter CYRA's secured systems at least 12 times. How did she even get my family code? Elena asked quietly. Santos hesitated. That was the entry code you shared with her years ago for the apartment when you lived together. Elena closed her eyes, pain slicing through her chest. A simple code, shared in trust, turned into a weapon. Okay. She breathed out slowly. Delete that variant from the system entirely. Santos nodded and began removing the code from every possible linkage. System auth, family access, emergency overrides. Then he wiped the logs of its deletion, so neither Victor nor Marina would notice. He said, glancing at her. Her backdoor access is gone. Elena nodded. Good. What's next? Second priority. Victor's financial framing. Santos opened the modified financial projections Victor had created. Line by line, he revealed forged numbers, falsified performance downturns, artificial departmental deficits, fabricated operational risk flags, careful inflation of capital burn rate, added loss signals pointing to management errors. Victor had crafted the perfect narrative. Elena Cruz was losing control of her company. Elena stared at the numbers. Her own company. Her creation. Her legacy. Being twisted into the story of an incompetent leader. How long? She whispered. How long has he been manipulating data? Santos scrolled. 3 months. Her throat tightened. 3 months of smiles. 3 months of late-night kisses. 3 months of him telling her he was proud of her. Every moment he must have been thinking, soon it'll all be mine. Elena straightened. Reverse the manipulations. Santos blinked. All of them. No. Keep the copies, she said. But prepare the originals with full metadata trails. I want the board to see the real numbers when the moment comes. Santos grinned. You're planning something big. She didn't smile back. Not yet. Third priority. Internal communications. Santos opened CYRA's internal threads. He said, look at this. Victor had already begun seeding doubt. Elena seems overwhelmed lately. We need stability. Perhaps a temporary transition? I'm happy to step in if necessary. Dozens of small statements, each innocuous alone, devastating together. Characters, whispers, seeds. Elena read every message slowly, her jaw tightening. Victor was playing politics with precision. He understood board psychology. He understood timing. He understood fear. But he didn't understand Elena. Not truly. Not deeply. Not anymore. Document everything, she said. Every sentence. Every timestamp. Santos captured it all. This is enough to get him removed. Elena shook her head. This isn't about removal. This is about obliteration. Santos rubbed his forehead. Elena, sometimes I forget blood runs through your veins. Fourth priority, Marina. Elena swallowed hard as Santos opened Marina's communications next. Her cousin's messages were worse. Much worse. If Elena looks unstable, it'll be easier to push her out. Feed her bad intel. Make her doubt herself. Her mother is the weak point. Distract her with family stress. Each word cut deeper than any betrayal Victor had orchestrated. Santos looked at Elena carefully. You okay? Keep going, she said, voice low and trembling. He clicked deeper. Her whole life came too easy. She always thinks she's better. This company should have been mine if I had her opportunities. God gave her everything and she's wasting it. Elena felt heat burning behind her eyes. Marina had always been jealous. Always competing. Always comparing. But this was hatred. Santos whispered gently. She's always been threatened by you. Elena blinked slowly. She had my trust. She abused it. She had my love. She didn't deserve it. Elena inhaled deeply. Save it all. Fifth priority. The guardianship plot. Santos hesitated before clicking open the next file. This one is rough. Show me. He pulled up Victor and Marina's discussion about her mother. Every line made Elena's skin crawl. Her mother's care plan is too expensive. A transfer will destabilize Elena emotionally. Once her mom's guardianship shifts, Elena will be legally occupied. That's when we push for removal. Elena didn't breathe. Couldn't breathe. Her nails dug into her palms until blood beaded. Save every word, she whispered. Every word. Santos nodded. He backed up everything to an encrypted drive and slid it toward her. This drive, he said, is enough to fry both of them alive. Elena stared at it. Then she shook her head. No, she murmured. There's more. Santos's eyebrows raised. What are you thinking? Elena stood. She walked to the window again, staring down at the waking city. Her voice was quiet, but it vibrated with power. I'm going to let them bury themselves. Santos frowned. How? Let them believe the breach is working, she said. Let them think their takeover is on track. Let them feel safe. Her. Elena, Lila said, forced brightness coating her voice. You're early. Couldn't sleep, Elena said. Any updates? Lila hesitated. There's something you should know. Elena's stomach dropped slightly. What is it? Victor came in yesterday, Lila said quietly. He spoke to departmental heads, individually. Elena's pulse spiked. About what? Lila swallowed. He said he was preparing contingency plans. In case your leadership needed support. The words hit Elena like a slap. Support. Elena asked tightly. Lila nodded slowly. I'm sorry. I didn't want to say anything until I was sure. But he's been building momentum. Elena inhaled sharply. So he wasn't wasting time. He was embedding himself. Softening the ground. Creating a story. A narrative. He also hinted, Lila added cautiously, that he'd be presenting something major to the board this week. Elena clenched her jaw. He did. Lila hesitated. Elena, you know I've worked with you for 5 years. I'd follow you anywhere. But I need to know something. What? Her assistant's voice lowered. Are you in trouble? Elena looked into Lila's eyes. Warm, loyal, honest. One of the few people in her company who truly cared. And she made a decision. No, Elena said softly. Her voice steady. Her spine straight. her eyes fierce. I'm not in trouble. She stepped closer. They are. Lila blinked, then nodded slowly. Tell me what you need. Elena exhaled. Everything. Inside her office. The moment Elena stepped into her office, she felt the difference. Her desk had been rearranged slightly. Her files moved. Small details altered. Someone had been in here. Recently. She approached her desk slowly, scanning the surface. Nothing obvious. Nothing glaring. But that was the point. Victor had been in here. She could feel it. The thought made her skin crawl. She opened her laptop and froze. A notification blinked on the screen. Recent access by administrator profile v.hale. Timestamp. Yesterday 4:51 p.m. Her breath left her body. He'd been here. In her office. In her computer. Violating every boundary. Every trust. Every oath marriage was supposed to protect. She slammed the laptop shut. Not out of fear. Out of resolve. He wants war, she murmured. Fine. She opened her drawer, pulled out a fresh notebook, and wrote a single list. Phase 1. Execute. Undermine their breach access. Rebuild board confidence. Isolate allies. Set up Victor and Marina's exposure. Secure her mother. Prepare personal confrontation. Detonate the truth publicly. She stared at the list for a long moment. Then she added a final line beneath it. End this. Afternoon. Meeting with legal. Elena moved to her next step. She scheduled a private meeting with CYRA's general counsel, Evelyn Park, a woman with sharp eyes, sharper intellect, and zero tolerance for foul play. When Elena entered Evelyn's office, the lawyer stood. Elena, Evelyn greeted. What's going on? Your message sounded urgent. Elena closed the door and locked it. I need to know something, she said. If a board member or executive is caught leaking internal data or falsifying financials, what does that mean? Evelyn's eyes narrowed. Who did what? If. Elena corrected softly. If. Evelyn leaned forward slowly. It means removal, indictment, and federal involvement. Elena nodded. And, she added carefully, if two people collaborated, with intent to manipulate leadership and force a transition. Evelyn's jaw set. That's conspiracy. And if that conspiracy includes leveraging a vulnerable elderly parent for guardianship manipulation? Evelyn's eyes widened. Elena, are you in danger? Elena didn't blink. Not me, she whispered. My mother. Evelyn's expression hardened. Elena, tell me everything. Elena did. Every line. Every message. Every betrayal. Evelyn wrote furiously. When Elena finished, Evelyn looked up, eyes blazing. Elena, she said calmly, you don't need to worry. She reached across the desk and squeezed Elena's hand. You're going to crush them. Elena inhaled shakily. I intend to. Evening, alone in her car. Hours later, Elena sat in her car, parked across from the long-term care facility where her mother lived. She walked inside, heart twisting as she approached the familiar room. Her mother was awake, sitting by the window. Elena, she smiled. Mija, you're here early. Elena sat beside her, took her hand, kissed her forehead. Mommy, she whispered softly. Did you really hear Victor say he'd be CEO? Her mother nodded. He said something about the board making a decision. He didn't know I was listening. Tears filled Elena's eyes. I believe you, she said. Thank you. Her mother squeezed her hand. Be careful, Mija. Not everyone who smiles loves you. Elena swallowed a sob. I know. Her mother leaned her head against Elena's shoulder. You're stronger than him, she murmured. Stronger than all of them. Elena closed her eyes. I have to be. As she held her mother close, Elena made another promise. Not to herself this time, but to the woman who raised her. No one is taking you away from me. Ever. If someone tried to manipulate you by targeting the one person you loved most, how far would you go to protect them? Share your thoughts. Someone might need your strength today. That night, Elena returned home just after 10 p.m., exhausted but buzzing with adrenaline. The penthouse felt different now. Colder, emptier, less like the home she built with Victor and more like a battlefield where the final blow had not yet been struck. The lights were off. The living room was quiet. The air felt thick with silence. Victor wasn't home yet. Good. She needed space. She needed calm. She needed clarity. She walked to the kitchen, grabbing a glass of water, her fingers trembling just slightly as she lifted it. Her phone rang. Santos. She answered immediately. "What's wrong?" she whispered. "We've got movement," Santos said. "Tons of it." Her stomach tightened. "What happened?" "They fell for it," he said. Victor and Marina took the bait. Elena leaned against the kitchen counter, gripping the edge tightly. "Tell me everything." Santos took a breath. They accessed the honeypot again. Everything inside. They're planning to use those fake reports to frame you at the board meeting. Elena nodded slowly. Good. Santos kept going. They also started pushing forward the breach narrative. Marina logged into the crisis folder with the intent to leak the fabricated loss projections. Elena closed her eyes. "They're accelerating," she said. "They think I'm slipping." "You want the best part?" Santos said. "What?" "They're getting sloppy." Her eyes opened. "How sloppy?" Marina forwarded one of the honeypot memos to a private Gmail account she's been using. The metadata shows she altered timestamps. Badly. Obvious manipulation. Elena's lips curled into a cold smile. "And Victor." "Worse," Santos said. "He tried to modify your leadership risk assessment, but he left traces. Lazy ones. He's rushing. That means he's scared. He's scared. Good. He should be." Santos added, "We're close. Very close. But we need to talk strategy. Because right now, you've got 3 major paths." "Tell me." Santos took a breath. Path 1. Full exposure at the board meeting. You walk into that meeting with every piece of evidence. Blow them up in front of the entire leadership. No recovery. Elena's chest rose. Path 2. Silent strike. You expose them quietly to regulators and let them get arrested at work. Their reputations die before they even understand what happened. Elena's pulse quickened. Path 3. Psychological warfare. You let the board meeting begin as they planned. You let Victor speak. Let him present his lies. Let him dig his own grave. Then you show your evidence when he's mid-sentence. Elena inhaled sharply. This felt right. Santos continued. He'd never recover from that kind of public humiliation. Elena closed her eyes. Option 3, she whispered. Absolutely. Santos chuckled softly. I knew you'd pick that one. Elena exhaled. This ends at the board meeting. Everything. Santos paused. There's one more thing. What? I traced the external breach partner Marina's been feeding. A chill ran down Elena's spine. Who? You need to sit down for this. I'm already sitting. Elena, Santos said slowly. It's not a stranger. Elena's heart slammed into her ribs. Who is it? It's someone inside CYRA. She froze. No, that wasn't possible. How? She whispered. Internal access, using Marina's login sessions. Elena's voice dropped to a whisper. Who? Santos hesitated. Then, Elena, it's someone from your senior leadership team. Her blood went cold. Santos continued. And not just anyone. It's someone close. Very close. Elena's voice trembled. Tell me their name. Santos inhaled. It's Santos whispered, voice tightening. The internal breach partner is. The call cut out. Static. A sharp screech. Then silence. Elena froze. gripping her phone so hard her knuckles turned white. "Santos," she whispered. "Santos, are you still there?" Nothing. The screen flickered. Call dropped. Her breath hitched. Her pulse thundered. She dialed again, straight to voicemail. A cold wave washed over her. No. 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 Not now. Not him. Not when they were this close. She tried again, voicemail. Elena grabbed her coat from the back of a chair, sprinted toward the elevator, and slammed her hand against the button until it lit up. Her chest tightened with every passing second. Where was he? Why did the call drop? Why now, of all times? By the time she reached the parking garage, her hands were trembling so violently she almost dropped her keys. She climbed into her car and sped through the empty streets, red lights glowing overhead as her heart raced faster and faster. When she reached Santos's apartment building, she ran. Up the stairs. Through the hall. Down the corridor. She pounded on his door. Santos. Open the door. Santos. Nothing. She pounded harder. Santos. It's me, open the door. Still nothing. Her stomach twisted. Santos, if you don't open this door right now. The door across the hall cracked open. A woman peeked out. Santos's neighbor, Mrs. Patel. "Elena," she said softly. "Are you looking for your brother?" Elena turned sharply. "Yes, did you see him?" Mrs. Patel frowned. "Yes. About 10 minutes ago. He rushed out of here with his laptop bag. Looked urgent." Elena's breath caught. Urgent how? Like someone was following him. Elena's blood ran cold. "Did he say anything?" she whispered. Mrs. Patel shook her head. "No. He just said he had to go. Fast." Elena swallowed. "Thank you." She hurried back toward the stairs, heart pounding against her ribs. Santos wouldn't run. Not unless. Unless he had to. Unless he'd seen something. Something dangerous. Something that required disappearing immediately. Her phone buzzed again. An encrypted message. From Santos. "EL. Don't go home." Elena's breath left her body in a single painful exhale. Her fingers shook so violently she nearly dropped her. "The traitor knows I found them." "Phone. Where are you?" she typed. 3 agonizing seconds passed. Then, "Can't say. Tracked. Will contact from safe network." Then another message. "L. I know who the traitor is." Elena's entire body tensed. "Who?" His reply came immediately. One word. One name. A name that should never have appeared on that screen. Caleb. Elena staggered backward as though she had been punched. Caleb Park. Her senior vice president of architecture. Her longest tenured engineer. Her mentor. Her friend. The man who helped her build CYRA's core infrastructure. The man who comforted her the night her father died. The man who toasted her when she got her first contract. The man she trusted as deeply as she trusted her own brother. Her vision blurred. Caleb. Her knees buckled and she caught herself against the stairway railing. Caleb. The one who had defended her against early investors. Caleb. The one who pulled all-nighters with her for weeks. Caleb. The one who said she was the future of cybersecurity. "No. No. No." She typed furiously. "Caleb. Are you sure?" Santos replied instantly. 100%. He's been using Marina's logins to leak data. He's meeting them tonight. Elena felt sick. Her stomach flipped. Caleb. Her Caleb. Working with Victor. Working with Marina. Helping break her company from the inside out. Why? She typed desperately. The reply came. "I don't know. But they're planning something. Be careful." Elena leaned her forehead against the wall, trembling violently. Caleb. Her colleague of 8 years. Her confidant. Her backbone in crisis. And he was part of this. Her phone buzzed again. "L. Listen to me. Caleb just left his building. He's headed to Victor." Elena's heartbeat thundered in her ears. "Where?" "The office." Elena's breath caught. Victor was at CYRA. Late at night. Meeting Caleb. While Marina prepped breach data. Her enemies were converging. And the timing wasn't random. Something was happening tonight. Something big. She raced down the stairs and into her car, adrenaline flooding her system. The drive to CYRA headquarters felt endless. Every red light was a knife. Every passing moment tightened the dread clawing at her chest. She parked 2 blocks away. Approached on foot. Her heart hammered with each step. The building was mostly dark, except for one floor. Her floor. The 23rd. Lights blazed behind the tall glass windows. 2 silhouettes stood inside. Victor. And Caleb. She stopped dead, breath-catching. Victor paced back and forth, agitated. Caleb stood with folded arms, speaking animatedly. Elena couldn't hear their words, but she didn't need to. She saw their faces. Caleb was angry. Victor was frustrated. Both were desperate. She slipped closer, hugging the shadows, watching their reflections in the lobby's glass. Victor slumped into a chair, rubbing his face. Caleb leaned over him, speaking with force. This wasn't calm planning. This was crisis. Something was collapsing. Elena took out her phone and zoomed in through the glass. Caleb's mouth formed words. And even from a distance, she recognized the shape of them. It's falling apart. Her stomach twisted. Victor stood abruptly, shouting something that made Caleb look away. Victor slammed his fist onto the desk. Caleb flinched. Then, Victor grabbed Caleb by the collar. Elena gasped. Victor shoved him backward. Caleb stumbled but didn't fall. Victor yelled again, something sharp, furious. Caleb's jaw clenched. Then he said a single word, and Victor froze. Just one word. Elena couldn't hear it, but she could see its effect. Victor's body stiffened. His face drained of color. Caleb straightened his jacket, turned toward the exit, and walked out. Quickly. Purposefully. Elena ducked behind a pillar as Caleb exited the building. He strode past her, steps fast, face pale. She heard him mutter under his breath. Unbelievable. He's losing it. Caleb didn't notice Elena hiding in the shadow of the pillar. He didn't see her eyes tracking him with hatred and heartbreak. When he disappeared down the street, Elena turned her attention back to the 23rd floor window. Victor sat alone now, head in his hands. Elena stepped forward, closer to the glass. And for the first time since discovering his betrayal, she didn't feel fear. She felt power, raw, electric, dangerous. He was unraveling. He was panicking. And he had no idea she was watching him. She pulled out her phone and typed a final message to Santos. I'm at CYRA. Victor is cracking. Caleb betrayed him too. Prepare phase 2. Santos responded immediately. It's time. Elena stared at Victor through the window. Yes, she whispered to herself. It's time. Then she typed. Phase 2. Activate everything. What should Elena do now that she knows Caleb, her closest ally for years, is part of the conspiracy, and that he's meeting with Victor in secret? Should she confront him, wait until the board meeting, or trap him too? Share your thoughts below. Someone else might need the perspective. Elena stood outside the building for a long moment after sending the message to Santos, watching Victor through the tall glass. He looked smaller than she had ever seen him. Shoulders tight, body hunched, hands pressed against his temples as if trying to physically hold together the plan that was now falling apart in his hands. He had no idea he'd been caught. No idea the trap had already snapped closed. No idea Elena was watching him lose control. She stepped back from the window, adjusting her coat. Her breath fogged in the cool night air. Victor had lost Caleb. He had lost control of the breach. He had lost the advantage he thought he'd stolen. Now, Elena was ready to strike. She crossed the street and entered the building, her heels silent against the polished lobby floor. Security had changed shifts. The new guard didn't bat an eye when she swiped her access card. Her heart beat steadily. No panic. No fear. This was her building, her company, her domain. She belonged here. Victor didn't. The elevator doors slid open with a soft chime. The ride to the 23rd floor felt endless and instantaneous all at once. The quiet hum of the elevator only sharpened her focus. She would face him tonight. Not because she needed to, but because she wanted to. She wanted to see his face when he realized he'd underestimated the wrong woman. When the elevator doors opened, the familiar hallway stretched out before her. Dim, silent, sterile. Only the light from her office glowed at the end of the corridor. Victor's silhouette moved slowly back and forth inside. Elena walked toward him, her steps measured. The carpet softened her footsteps, and she reached the office doorway unnoticed. Victor had his back to her, staring at her desk, the very desk he'd violated with forged reports and stolen logins. His hands were planted on the surface, knuckles white, head bowed. Busy night, Elena said quietly. Victor spun so fast he nearly tripped over himself. Elena. His face was pale, eyes wide. She stepped into the office, closing the door behind her. Working late? She asked. He forced a chuckle, rubbing the back of his neck awkwardly. Just catching up. Didn't expect you here. I can see that. He swallowed. Why are you here? He asked, attempting casualness and failing miserably. Elena moved deeper into the office, running her fingers along the back of a leather chair. Her voice was soft, controlled. I could ask you the same. He blinked. Me? I just... She raised a hand. Stop. Victor froze. His breath hitched. She saw it. He was nervous. Good. Elena stepped closer, her eyes never leaving his. Victor. We need to talk. His jaw tightened. She saw the flicker of fear. The calculation. The attempt to determine how much she knew. Of course, he said carefully. What's going on? She tilted her head slightly. You tell me. He blinked again. What do you mean? I mean, she said smoothly. You've been acting strangely. Pacing. Sneaking around. Whispering in corners. Visiting my mother's care facility without telling me. Victor's face went still. Elena watched panic ripple beneath his skin. I what? Elena, I don't. You don't what? Her voice remained calm. Too calm. Victor took a step back. Elena, I think you're stressed. You're overthinking. Let's just... No. Her voice sliced through his words like glass. Victor shut his mouth instantly. She took another slow step closer. Look at me, she said. He hesitated, then raised his eyes. What she saw there confirmed everything. Guilt, fear, lies forming behind his pupils. You're hiding something, Elena said. And you're bad at it. Victor's breath caught. Elena, honey. Don't call me that, she whispered. His lips parted in shock. Elena, please, you're scaring me. She almost laughed. Good. She stepped around him, brushing past his shoulder just enough to make him flinch. She reached her desk, ran her fingers across the wood. Did you enjoy sitting here? She asked quietly. Did it make you feel powerful? Victor swallowed hard. Elena, what are you talking about? She picked up a pen, turned it over in her hands. You think I don't know what you've been doing? Victor stiffened. You accessed my files. His face drained of color. You forged documents. He stepped back. You tried to manipulate the board. He opened his mouth. Elena, please let me explain. You tried to take my company, Victor. Silence. Complete silence. Then, Elena, he said, barely audible. I can explain. No, she cut him off. You can't. He blinked rapidly, tears forming in his eyes. Elena, I did this for us. That broke her. She laughed. Sharp and humorless. For us. She repeated. Yes, he said desperately. You were burning out. The company was too much for you. You needed help. You needed someone stable to step in. Someone who wouldn't let everything fall apart. So you plotted to take over behind my back? Elena, You enlisted Marina? He froze. You targeted my mother? Victor's face twisted. Elena, I didn't. I wasn't trying to hurt her. Marina just said. Marina. Elena whispered. She said. Victor ran a hand through his hair. Elena, it wasn't supposed to go this far. Caleb. Caleb what? Victor shut his eyes. Knew he'd said too much. Elena, he said, voice trembling. Please let me explain. She stepped closer until they were inches apart. You betrayed me. Victor's face crumpled. Elena, I love you. No, she whispered. You loved the version of me you could control. Victor's hands shook as he reached for her, but she stepped back sharply. He stopped mid-air. Elena. Please, we can fix this. No, Victor, she said softly. You broke something you can't fix. He collapsed into the chair behind him, shaking. Elena, he whispered. I don't want to lose you. She felt nothing. Then you shouldn't have tried to destroy me. His breathing turned shallow. Elena, he choked. Please, please. She turned away. You'll speak at the board meeting, she said quietly. His head snapped up. Elena. You'll present your lies. Elena. And when you're finished. He shook his head desperately. No. Elena. Don't. She looked over her shoulder. I'll bury you. Victor's face twisted in panic. Elena, please. She walked to the door. Paused. Turned back to him one last time. And Victor. He swallowed hard. Yes. Tell Marina to run. Victor's blood ran cold. Elena. What are you going to do? She held his gaze unblinking. End this. She left him sitting alone in the office. Shaking, sweating, terrified. Good. Let him feel the fear he tried to instill in her. Let him understand what it meant to cross her. The elevator doors closed behind her. And as they descended, Elena whispered to herself. 1 down. Her heart hardened. 2 to go. In Elena's place, would you confront Victor directly? Or keep quiet and let him walk into the board meeting unprepared for what you know? Comment what you would do. Someone else reading might need your insight. Understood. Continuing immediately with Part 8. Marina's unraveling, Caleb's confrontation, and the tightening noose around all 3 betrayers. Same cinematic pacing. Another 3,000 words. No chapter headings. The elevator descended with a soft hum, and Elena felt the tremor of adrenaline settle deep into her bones. The confrontation with Victor had left a strange aftertaste. Not relief, not satisfaction, but a cold, sharpened clarity. She didn't feel victorious. Not yet. This wasn't over. Not until every piece of the conspiracy was dismantled. When the elevator reached the lobby, she stepped out into the cool night air. The city pulsed outside the glass doors, neon reflections dancing on rain-slicked sidewalks, headlights cutting through the darkness like blades. She inhaled deeply. Then she called Santos. He answered on the first ring. "El, are you safe?" "Yes." "You sound different." Elena hesitated. Victor knows something is wrong. Not everything, but enough to be afraid. "Good," Santos said. "Fear keeps people stupid." Elena smiled faintly despite herself. "You said we needed phase 2. Let's begin." "Already working on it," Santos said. "But we have a problem." Her stomach tightened. "What?" "Caleb's heading to Marina." Elena froze on the sidewalk. "What?" GPS pinged near her loft. "His phone and hers are in the same location right now." Elena pressed a hand to her forehead. "What the hell are they doing together?" "I don't know," Santos said. "But if they're meeting without Victor, then the alliance is cracking." "Good. Let them fracture. Let them tear at each other. Track them," Elena said. "I'll go there now." "El." "What?" "Be careful. If Caleb realizes you know, he could panic." And panicked people are unpredictable. Elena nodded, already crossing the street toward her car. I'm done being careful. 12 minutes later. Elena parked 2 blocks from Marina's building, an expensive loft in a trendy district, exactly the kind of place Marina loved flaunting on social media. The lights in Marina's unit glowed brightly through sheer curtains, silhouettes moving back and forth. Elena approached quietly, keeping to the shadows. She slipped through the unlocked front gate and crossed the courtyard. Inside Marina's living room, she saw Caleb pacing furiously. Marina stood with her arms folded, chin high, lips pursed in irritation. Elena moved closer until she could hear faint voices through a slightly open window. Caleb's voice. Tense. Angry. You didn't tell me she'd be there. Marina scoffed. I didn't know she'd show up at the office. Why the hell would she be there at night? Caleb slammed his hands against the counter. Because she's smarter than Victor thinks. She's not stupid, Marina, she's suspicious. Marina rolled her eyes. She's emotional. Not suspicious. Caleb glared at her. Are you blind? She knows something. I saw it in her face this afternoon. Marina uncrossed her arms and walked toward him. Relax, she said sharply. Victor is handling her. Caleb gave a bitter laugh. Victor. Victor's losing his mind, Marina. He grabbed me. Physically grabbed me. He's spiraling. And if he goes down, we all go down, Marina muttered. They stared at each other. The tension inside the apartment felt like a bomb ticking. Elena watched silently, her breath steady. Every word revealed something. Every glance exposed fault lines. You told me this plan was solid, Caleb hissed. That Elena was isolated. That she'd crumble under pressure. That no one would help her. You said this would be clean. Marina lifted her chin defiantly. It will be clean. No, Caleb snapped. It won't. She's already pulling threads. She's asking questions. And if she finds out what we did. Marina cut in, voice rising. What you did, Caleb. What you executed. Your breach. Don't forget that. Caleb's jaw locked. Elena curled her fingers into fists. This was real. This was proof. Caleb wasn't just helping. He was the architect of the internal breach. The betrayal twisted deeper in her chest. Caleb lowered his voice, but the venom remained. Don't rewrite history, Marina. You're the one who fed Victor inside information. You're the one who suggested removing Elena from the board entirely. You're the one who wanted guardianship of her mother transferred. Elena's breath caught. Guardianship. That word again. Marina stiffened. That was Victor's idea. You agreed, Caleb shot back. Marina's eyes narrowed. You agreed too. Caleb's voice dropped to a whisper. I agreed to help Victor get the company. I didn't agree to ruin Elena's family. Elena blinked. There it was, the weakness. A crack. A conscience. Small but visible. Marina stepped closer, almost toe-to-toe with Caleb. She's not your friend, Caleb. She never saw you as an equal. She used you. You were a tool. A smart tool, but still a tool. Elena's pulse froze. Caleb's expression changed. Darkened. Twisted. Shut up, he whispered. Why? Marina taunted. Because it's true. Because she chose Santos over you every time? Because she promoted you only after we convinced her? Because she never saw your real potential? Because she never. Caleb grabbed her wrist, squeezing hard. Marina's breath hitched. Let go. Caleb didn't. His voice was low, shaking with old resentment. She valued me more than she ever valued someone like you. You were always jealous, Marina. Always. 8 years. And you never got over it. Marina ripped her hand free. You idiot, she spat. We're in this together. Caleb shook his head. No. We're not. Elena's heart thudded. Caleb was breaking. Santos was right. They were fracturing. Marina stepped back cautiously. What are you saying? Caleb wiped a hand across his face. I'm saying I'm done. Victor's spiraling. And Elena is suspicious. I'm not going down for this. Marina's eyes widened. You can't pull out now. Watch me, Caleb snapped. If you run, Marina warned, Victor will come after you. Let him, Caleb barked. He should be worried about Elena, not me. The room fell silent. Caleb grabbed his jacket and stormed toward the door. Marina rushed after him. Caleb, stop. But he slammed the door behind him and jogged down the hallway. Elena stepped back into the shadows as he passed, walking fast, head down, muttering under his breath. She let him go. Not yet. Not time for him. Inside the loft, Marina paced like a trapped animal, pulling at her hair, cursing under her breath. Elena watched her unravel from the shadows. Good. Let her fall apart. Let them all fall apart. Tonight was only the beginning. 1 hour later. Elena sat in her car, parked on a quiet side street, watching Marina's building. She needed to think. Caleb was out. Victor was cracking. Marina was unraveling. 3 enemies. 3 different weaknesses. Caleb, guilt. Victor, panic. Marina, ego. Which one breaks first? Her phone buzzed. Santos, meet me at the safe house. Elena frowned. Why? You have to see this in person. A cold shiver slid through her spine. I'm on my way. 20 minutes later. The safe house. Santos had set up shop in an abandoned co-working space with dead Wi-Fi and heavy steel doors. It smelled faintly of dust and old coffee. He met her at the entrance. Elle, he said, you should sit. Elena stiffened. No. Show me. Santos swallowed, then led her to a laptop connected to an offline drive. Elle, he said, I kept digging. Deeper than before. Past Victor. Past Caleb. Past Marina. Her heart pounded. What did you find? Santos clicked a folder labeled Hidden Under Thread. Inside were thousands of files. Santos opened the first one. Elle, he whispered. There's a 4th conspirator. Elena stared at the screen. No. That didn't make sense. A 4th? Who? She whispered. Santos clicked again. The screen displayed a series of emails. Coded, encrypted, buried under layers of metadata. Elena, he said quietly. The 4th accomplice isn't a stranger. Elena felt her knees weaken. Santos clicked again. A face appeared on the screen. Elle, he whispered. The 4th conspirator is someone on your board. Elena's stomach dropped. Her vision blurred. Not this. Not them. Not someone at the highest level. She stepped back. Who? She whispered. Santos clicked one final time, and the name lit up on the screen like a bullet. Board chair. Adrian Shaw. Elena stared. Her breath caught painfully. Adrian Shaw. Her mentor. Her supporter. Her investor. Her friend. The woman who pushed Elena into CEO position. The woman who claimed, "You remind me of a younger me." Her chairwoman. Working with Victor. With Marina. With Caleb. Her pulse pounded. Elena, Santos whispered. Adrian is the one who orchestrated the takeover. The others were pawns. Elena grabbed the table to stay upright. Her voice broke. Why? She whispered. Santos stared at the screen. Elle, she wants the whole company. A tear slipped down Elena's cheek, not from weakness but fury so deep it hurt. They're all dead, she whispered. I'm ending every single one of them. If the person you trusted the most, the person who helped you rise, secretly plotted your downfall, how would you respond? Would you go for revenge, justice, or cut ties forever? Comment your thoughts. Someone may need your perspective right now. Understood. You want the story to end at part 9, meaning part 9 is the final segment and the story stops exactly where we left it, with the reveal of Adrienne's betrayal and Elena preparing for war. To close the story cleanly and powerfully at part 9, here is your official final ending segment, giving closure, emotional punch, and a satisfying final beat, without adding new plot arcs. This ties the story emotionally and thematically without continuing beyond the point you requested. Elena stood in her apartment surrounded by silence, watching the city through a sheet of glass. A quiet storm churned inside her, the kind that didn't roar or rage, the kind that sharpened. Victor, Caleb, Marina, and now Adrian. 4 names. 4 blades she never saw coming. But she wasn't broken. She felt awake. Her mother's voice echoed in her memory, soft and trembling from a hospital bed. Baby, when people betray you, don't let them turn you into stone. Let them turn you into steel. Elena closed her eyes and inhaled. Steel. Not shattered. Not crumbled. Just reforged. She opened her laptop and began typing, each keystroke precise, deliberate. Not a resignation. Not a plea. A declaration. A beginning. A blueprint for everything she would build after the ashes settled. She wasn't going to fight fire with fire. She was going to burn brighter. When she finished, she read the words aloud, a quiet promise to herself. They think they've written my ending. But this is only chapter 1. Elena closed the laptop. And with that, the war began. Fade out. If you found out every major person around you had been secretly working to tear you down, would you rebuild alone, or would you find new allies? Share your thoughts in the comments. Someone else might need your perspective.